Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, thank you for tuning in. 5 minutes after 11 o'clock, a little bit rainy out there, cold, or rather cool temperatures coming our way, and it's not going to be cold. The rest of the country is cold. We're not cold, right? I saw 10 hours of snow in Green Bay, Robin.
Oh my gosh.
In your area. So
wow,
so
go Packers.
If you're in Green Bay, you're going to be cold. Well, you're probably ready to cold. No, you're not. You're probably used to it. It's probably the real truth.
Yeah, I took my jacket off. It's getting kind of warm in here.
Our next guest has written a novel, and part of this regards research of the Shroud of Turin, which for some reason I became fascinated with some years ago because it just seemed, I don't know, it seemed like whoever wrote the book that I read, it sounded like they were saying the Shroud of Turin was the real cloth that Christ was buried in, and somehow Jesus left a flash imprint on the cloth or something. I don't know. I don't understand it really, but it fascinated me anyway. And I never heard of the Veil of Veronica, so we're going to learn about that as well. And Linda Stasi, I just want to talk to her about everything. I mean, she's been on every show. She's been on Howard Stern. She's been on Bill O'Reilly. In fact, she's on the O'Reilly Show a lot, right?
Yes.
The Today Show has her regularly, the View, so we can drop names like that. Her new book is called The Sixth Station. It's a thriller novel about the Shroud of Turin and the Veil of Veronica. And Linda's credentials include writing for the New York Daily News as a columnist and a critic. She's the co-host of NY1's television show What a Week. As I mentioned, the Today Show, Good Morning America, CNN, the CBS Early Show, Bill O'Reilly, and Howard Stern says here. So I'm guessing Howard is the most fun. Oh.
Yeah, he's probably fun.
I'm just
Him
guessing.
and Robin.
I'm just guessing. That's the fun, that's the fun one. Linda, good morning. Linda Stasi, good morning, Linda.
Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. Where are you right now?
I'm in New York City.
All right. Is it snowing there?
No, it's raining, though. It's a miserable day.
Oh, it's raining. Is that where you live?
Yes, I live here, but luckily it was 5 degrees last week. I think it's in the 30s today.
Yeah, well,
misery.
well, we actually have, being Robin from Wisconsin, I'm from New York, and we've lived here enough that we say, you know, I miss it sometimes. So we want cold weather like a day or two, and then we want it to come back to be warm. So.
I actually love the cold weather.
Do you really?
5 degrees, but I love the cold weather, yeah.
What number book is this for you? How many books have you written?
This is my 6th book, but it's my first novel. So the other 5 have been nonfiction.
Oh, really?
So
okay, so
my first time delving into this world.
But it says in the notes that this required a lot of research.
A lot is an understatement. It took me 6 years of research.
Oh,
I traveled
wow.
through 5 countries. I drove through 3 by myself. I took a road trip with an exorcist priest from the Vatican.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I stayed with monks in the mountains of Montepello, Italy. I stayed with a crazy, underlined 3 or 4 times, crazy cloistered nun who studies this relic that I found. And she hadn't spoken to anyone in 20 years, so she was given permission to talk to me. I almost had to beat her up to get out of there. She just wouldn't stop talking.
Well, after 20 years, I can imagine.
Yeah, really.
I climbed a mountain in France twice. I was escorted through parts of France by a motorcycle gang. Yeah.
Wow.
That's fun.
But I
Wow.
did find the relic, this actual relic that I believe has the DNA of Jesus on it.
The relic meaning the Shroud of Turin.
No, it's the Veil of Veronica.
Oh, the Veil of Veronica.
Which is the 6th station of the cross. In every Catholic church in the world, they have the stations of the cross.
Okay.
And this is the 6th station, which is Veronica wipes the face of Jesus, and his image appeared on this cloth. So I found the cloth,
yes,
and then I found out that Veronica never lived. So it's
Oh, my.
Okay, so we've got a million questions for you, but the first question I have, with your background of being a nonfiction writer and all of this research, why did the book become fiction?
Well, I'm a journalist. I'm a columnist for the New York Daily News, and I've been a journalist for, well, actually since the first Jesus was born. And I took a road trip with my husband not like normal people, like to Orlando or something. We took a road trip through Turkey.
Oh, wow.
When we got to Ephesus, our guide was a college professor. And all I wanted to do is know where she got the knockoff Chanel purse, and all she wanted to do was take us to great religious sites. So she took us to the house of the Virgin Mary, and I'm like, yeah, okay, what was the Virgin Mary doing in Turkey? I don't believe it for a second. And she explained to me that when Jesus was on the cross, he said to the Apostle John, she is your mother too. And then John went to Turkey and started the first Messianic Christian community in the world there, and she was with him. And the house was lost and underground, had been buried for like 1,200 years when it was finally uncovered. So I went to this house, and I don't know, I had some kind of revelations, and I started having like ideas and visions and all kinds of things. And as the rest of the trip, all I did is get this book through my head, and I knew it would be fiction. I didn't think that the book would take me the places it took me, and I didn't think I'd be uncovering 2,000-year-old secrets hidden by the Vatican. I mean, I just wanted to write a simple book about a journalist.
Wow. So you were on a path that was almost happening for you. You didn't really plan it.
Yes. And I have to tell you that very bizarre and crazy things happened to me during the writing of this book, and I put a lot of them on the website that I have for the book called the6station.com. But some of them were so crazy that if I put them, people would just think I was a nut job.
Like what?
I mean, I'm a journalist. I documented all this stuff, and my husband's an attorney, and he was there to see it happen. So
wow.
For a lot of the stuff, but you know, it's a fiction book, and it's a fast-paced thriller about what if they cloned Jesus? Would the same thing happen again? And there's other questions, such as if they cloned Jesus, would that be the second coming? I mean, who says it's not scientific, you know? And if they cloned Jesus, would he be called a terrorist, like he was called a seditionist? And maybe he would be a terrorist. Maybe a clone doesn't have a soul. So it's all these questions. So that's why it took me 6 years.
Oh, wow. So let me just tell you something about us. When we speak to a fiction writer, we're very careful because we don't want to give a story away. So I want to make sure I abide by that rule with you. But when we speak to a nonfiction writer, we like delve everywhere because there's no way in a short interview you're ever going to get as much information as a book. So I'm kind of like straddling that line with you, though. I want to ask more.
No, you can ask me anything you want because the story, you know, is made up. It's the story is fiction. The research is all facts. So the story, you know, it's a fast-paced thriller. It's a lot of fun. It's about a New York City jaded journalist who drinks too much, has too much to eat, and gets involved in, you know, just a regular person who gets involved she has to cover this trial of a terrorist, and something extraordinary happens to her between her and the terrorist that sets her on this worldwide hunt. She's not only hunting for the truth of whether this guy could be the actual clone of Jesus, but she's on a hunt. She's being hunted because she's been set up in a murder. So that's the plot.
Okay.
Any of the research, please be free to ask me about any of it.
Okay, so the first question I have is, you said that you believe that the Veil of Veronica indeed has the DNA of Jesus on it. Do you believe the same is true for the Shroud of Turin?
Well, this is what I found out. The Veil of Veronica has nothing to do with the story that we've been told about a woman named Veronica, and the monks told me that a woman named Veronica never existed. And they said it just means true. Veronica means Veronica, true icon. And that the story of Veronica was made up. There was never a woman by that name.
Okay.
But here's how they believe it came to be. The Veil of Veronica is made of very see-through silk. When a Jewish man died 2,000 years ago, first they would place a napkin of silk on his face. Then they would wrap a shroud around it. Now, what I discovered in my research, I don't know if you know this, but the Shroud of Turin is a negative. It's not a positive.
Yes.
It's like an old negative of a photograph.
Right.
The Veil of Veronica is a positive. So what this nun discovered in her microscopic laboratory there in her little house is that when the veil of Veronica was laid upon the Shroud of Turin, the images not only match up exactly, but they form a 3D image. And I have this actual image on my website, the6station.com. So I said, well, how in the heck is that possible? And they told me that what they believe is that when Jesus arose from the grave, from the tomb, that there was a great expanse of energy, and it literally photographed on this veil, and then the negative is the shroud.
Well,
Who am I to fight it? I mean, I saw it for myself. It's crazy, but I saw it for myself.
Yeah, well, and that's actually, because Jesus is referred to as the light. And we take that as a figurative thing, but maybe there's something literal about it, too. Who knows?
Well, this interesting thing about this veil is that it's completely see-through. And they have it on the altar, and the sun shines through it. I mean, it's a 2,000-year-old piece of cloth, and it doesn't rot, doesn't change, it doesn't fade.
Wow.
You can hardly see the image unless you look at it in certain
Oh,
directions.
really?
But when you see it, and they took it out, and they let me photograph it, and when you see it, it's been examined. There's no paint on it. There's no dye on it. There's nothing on it.
And where is
I don't
it?
know how this image is on there, but it's on there. And it also has these little brown spots, which appear to be blood.
And where is it now? Where's the? It's in the church, right? Somewhere.
It's in a little monastery up in the mountains of Montepello, Italy.
Okay.
And the interesting thing, another interesting thing, I should say, is the last pope went to visit it quietly, and he was so overcome by this relic that 2 weeks later he declared this little monastery to be a papal basilica. So you tell me.
Wow.
Wow. So did you? But you said you felt something too. Can you share some of that?
Well, this is what's, as I said, I took Father Jake, who's an 80-year-old exorcist priest from the Vatican. Father Jake is a very interesting guy because he was sort of like the CIA for the Vatican, so he'd make all kinds of things happen. So when I found him and I asked him to go with me, he was perfectly happy to do that. So we get there, and the monks take out the relic, the veil, and I took my nerve and I said, do you mind if I photograph it? And they said, no, go ahead. It was like, okay then.
Wow.
Wow. What an honor.
I start photographing it, and this is also on the website, the6station.com. The image changed. In one image, he's got his mouth open and you can see teeth, and in the next image on my digital camera, his mouth is closed, and he's kind of smiling. And I thought, what the heck is that?
Wow.
So I turned the camera around, and I said, Father Jake, look at this. And boom, he faints dead away on the altar.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
He
Now I'm
faints.
saying,
The father
okay,
fainted.
then. I've got a weekend at Bernie situation on my...
Yeah. He's
I've got an
80.
80-year-old dead guy. And I'm going to have to drive him back to
Oh
Rome.
man. So
But
he.
didn't die.
Okay.
Thank God. He was just fainted.
He was
So the
overwhelmed.
monks and I carried him to a little room where he slept for 12 hours straight.
Wow.
And when he woke up, I said to him, what happened? He said, I was just so overcome by the miracle of this veil changing on your camera that I felt like I really saw a miracle, maybe for the first time in my life. And I have those images on the website.
And tell me the website
Did
again.
I start out to do this? No, I started out to tell a simple tale, and reporter tale. I don't.
The6station.com. That's the website.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to. What a fascinating story. Wow.
So did you have a conversation with the monks after that? That every time they looked at the shroud, that they were able to see the changes the way your camera picked it up?
Oh, when I said it to them, they said, "Oh, it changes all the time."
Oh, okay.
It was nothing to them.
They weren't even a little bit surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was their normal course of events. They didn't think there was anything odd about it. I mean, they've had it for something like 1,000 years. It was stolen out of the Vatican. And also in this thriller novel that I wrote, I actually traced the whole history of where the veil started and how it ended up with a heretical group of Christians that were completely completely wiped out by the Vatican. 1 million people were killed by the Vatican to
Oh,
wipe
my.
out this Christian sect that I believe had this veil.
Now,
And
there
it
was.
Oh,
taken
wow.
then- the Cathars is the group. One of the Crusades was actually started just to wipe this group out. And they then gave the veil to the Templars before they were wiped out. And the Templars used this veil as a banner into war. It's an incredible story.
Wow.
It's just an incredible story, and the Vatican's kept it suppressed.
Well, with all of the DNA testing in this day and age and all the other kind of testings, have scientists been in there to test it to authenticate the age?
No, they haven't, but it has been authenticated by a Father Cuccinelli, I think his name is. I can't remember, but he's a professor at the University of Bari, and he did the testing, and he declares it to be real. The Pope, the last Pope, Benedict, declared it to be the real deal, and it's also been tested on the Vatican archivist declared it to be at least 1,200 years old, because they know it was stolen, I think, 1,200 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
Wow. Just so I went through the website, by the way. I'm looking at the photographs right now of the two images where one's showing teeth and one is not. His eyes are
Those
open.
were my pictures. Those are the ones that I took. But if you go to the tab that says Media, you'll see the Veil of Veronica and the Shroud of Turin and how overlaying one another and how they match up exactly. But the changing image face were the ones I took.
Okay.
In part of the material from your publicist, they had sent us something that you were instructed by Father Jacobs to destroy all of his papers.
The adventure never ended. I thought, okay, I'm finally finished with the research. And I was in Italy probably 3 years ago. And we just happened to be on a trip with my whole family, and I got a phone call at midnight, and it was this mysterious person in New York City who informed me that Father Jake had died. And I thought, he called me on my cell phone, and I thought, well, thank God I'm in Italy. I can go to the funeral, but it had nothing to do with that. He said, here's what you must do. It's Father Jake's will that you must go to his apartment in Vatican City, get inside, and take his laptop and all the important papers before the Vatican gets there.
Really?
I said, well, how the heck am I supposed to do that? He said, someone will meet you. Here's the address. Someone will meet you. And sure enough, a mysterious man met me, handed me the key, and went away. And my daughter and I and my husband went into the apartment, and so I find his laptop. You won't believe this. The laptop was locked with a key. And I'm not saying a virtual key. I mean a metal key. It had a little lock on it that was built into the laptop. And I searched around, and I found the key. And I had to smuggle it back to the United States with a bunch of papers from Vatican papers that I found. So try smuggling back a laptop that's locked with a key. Customs.
So you couldn't unlock it until you got back to America?
I was not allowed to unlock it.
Oh,
I
you
was
weren't.
told that I had to just deliver it to this address in New York with the boxes, and I did.
Oh, wow. And so
Not that I didn't look at a lot of the papers beforehand. Believe me, I did. But a lot of it seemed like sort of incoherent ramblings, and it was in code. I took snapshots of a lot of it, which I will have when I have some time. I'll decode it or have somebody interpret it, because some of it was in Latin. Whatever it was, he
Right.
did not want the Vatican to get their hands on it.
So I have a question for you about the book itself. The book is called The Sixth Station, by the way. It is a thriller novel, but it's so fascinating that the research and the history and the amount of time that you dedicated yourself to understanding the Shroud of Turin and I guess the Veil of Veronica is actually the bigger piece of this. What was the book again? That was the Bible Code or something. What was that called?
Oh, the Da Vinci Code?
The Da Vinci Code.
Right.
Okay. Let me just ask you this. When you're fictionalizing things, aren't you afraid that God's going to throw down lightning?
Yeah, right.
What the Da Vinci Code, some of the things that he wrote in that book, I mean, he said, look, I made it up.
Yes,
Yeah.
he made up a lot of stuff, but his information about the Mary Magdalene story and so forth, he got all that from other writers who'd written the Holy Blood, Holy Grail, which was just a research book. I did all the research myself, and so it's interesting that you asked me that question because I was invited on a radio show on Sirius Radio that was hosted by Monsignor Jim Lasante, who's the Monsignor of the Diocese of Rockville Center in New York, which is the whole of most of Long Island. It's a huge diocese. And I thought, okay, here it comes. Now you're going to get beaten with a stick.
Yeah.
I was kind of really afraid, but I thought, I'm standing behind my research. So no matter what he says, I know this research is solid. I didn't make up the story that Veronica never existed. The monks told me that. I didn't make it up.
Right.
So I go on the show, and he said to me, I want to tell you first off that you've taught me things about my religion that I didn't know.
Okay.
I was,
That's cool.
I was shocked. Shocked.
I'm waiting for the hammer to fall.
Yeah, I was shocked, and apparently one of the reasons the Vatican never protested any part of this book is that they know it's true. They know they have a fake sitting in the Vatican. They know they don't have the real Veil of Veronica.
Okay.
They know that. They know they hold up a phony reproduction every Easter, the Easter week. They hold up.
So why don't they
Veil of
say it?
Veronica, and people pray to it, and they know it's a fake.
But you're not really praying to the cloth. You're praying.
No, they pray to the. I don't know what they pray. I mean, they pray. They're not praying to the actual cloth in the same way you don't pray to a statue.
Right, but he didn't chastise you for the fictionalized part of this, right? The cloning
no, because
part.
that's just a story. I mean, that's a thriller adventure.
Okay.
He can't chastise me for having the concept, no pun intended, of Jesus being cloned and somebody going on a hunt and being hunted. They can't chastise me for that. I thought they'd chastise me for revealing this information, but they did not.
Right. Wow, that's fascinating.
How did all these people manage to trust you, like the monks and then Father Jacobs and the nun? I mean, and the guys on the phone that had you do the, Oh, that's right. Of course.
I don't know. I mean, I had met Father Jake before, and I always found him a fascinating character. So when I came up with the book, I asked him if he'd travel with me, and he said, sure. I don't know why they trusted me. I mean, I guess my 20 years as a journalist, I've gotten mobsters to trust me. I've gotten governors to trust me. So I guess I got them to trust me. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody ever asked them before.
Wow.
I really don't.
So what?
I mean, they were so eager to talk about it. I mean, I thought, this is the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. I'm like in Montepello, Italy, drinking wine and having a high old time with these monks.
They were probably happy just to have a woman around. Yeah.
Well, they have the crazy nun up the hill.
Maybe that's why. Never. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to get struck down. But let me. What were your other books about? Have you always had a fascination with religion in general?
No more than anybody else. I mean, I've always found it very interesting what really happened during the Crusades and what the Vatican was hiding and all that stuff. But I never had a particular fascination with it. No, I mean, I was just kind of led on this journey that I certainly didn't expect to get involved in.
I think you're going to sell a load of books, by the way.
I hope so.
I think so. When did it come out?
Well, it actually came out in hardback almost a year ago, and it's out in paperback this week. And it's under $8, so there you go.
Can't beat that.
No,
I'm telling you, just go to the.
I a lot of books, people, because I got to make up this cost. It cost me for 6 years of traveling through 5 countries.
Yeah, right. The book is called The Sixth Station, and the website is thesixthstation.com, and you'll see all the fascinating things that Linda has been talking to us about the entire interview, and then some. And can you get the book? I'm looking at it right now. Can I buy the book?
Yes, you can get it at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, hopefully at an airport near you. I'm not sure about that, but it's in all the major bookstores, and as well as online.
And you can read an excerpt, right?
Yes.
How do you say Selcuk with a funny thing under the C?
Selchuk.
Selchuk, that's like a CH, okay. Because the first word I came to, I can't pronounce.
This is the first place I went. There you go.
Selchuk, Turkey, AD, March 26, 1982. Oh, I see, okay. Wow, this was fascinating. We didn't get the book yet. It's coming, but I can't wait.
Oh, you didn't get it yet?
No, for some
It's
reason.
on route.
For some reason,
Sorry.
it didn't get here. And I know our listeners. I can see them calling because they usually give the book away when I get it, and I will for the listeners'
No,
sake.
tell them. I will make sure they give you a bunch of copies to give away.
Okay, and well, we can buy our own. I don't want you to because you got to pay for that trip.
That's right. You're going back.
Linda, thank you for being on the air with us
Thank
today.
you so much. I really appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
Really fascinating story. I'm so looking forward to reading it. The Sixth Station. Go to the website, thesixthstation.com. Go to any place books are sold. Is it an ebook as well?
Yes, Kindle.
And Linda spells her last name Stasi. Just so you know,
Right.
Stasi.
Right. Like the German secret police.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay. Thank you.
Fun, and interesting, both at once. We'll be right back.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity.